Smallville.
That is fair to say. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of Smallville. Smallville season 1, episode 3. It's called Hothead. So we've got a fire villain, of course, because we're going to have one of those soon, early in the season.
All these shows do them, don't they?
This one's particularly notorious though for cycling through a lot of the obvious ones in the first 10 episodes.
Yeah, in a way though, I don't. It's annoying for here, but it's like, well, we can get them over and done with.
I don't know. I feel like that's workaround logic. What I will say about this is I don't think I have as many hot takes as I did in the first 2 episodes.
Oh, this is definitely better. It's not good, but it's better.
Also, did you like the pun there with the hot take?
And I intentionally brushed over it.
Yeah. So the plot of this one is that the high school football coach, who's an actor I now recognise from Pitch, he was the coach or the manager on Pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still an older man here, but he's much older in Pitch because this was 15 years ago. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so he is his sauna. He's got kryptonite rocks in his sauna, which have given him heat powers.
Why not?
Or fire powers, I should be more specific. And he is, he's literally a hothead. That's what the title is referring to. He is so determined for his team to win. He cares so much about. It's almost a commentary on how much high school football is put on a pedestal and seen as this important thing, where he cares so much that he's willing to doctor their grades so they can play and everything else. And he'll, and it obviously gets more psychotic as the episode goes on, and he wants to kill anyone who threatens to expose what he's done or stop his team from winning. That's his thing. And Clark's whole story, of course, is that he is asked by him to play in the team because he gets caught catching a ball, of all things. And
throwing one.
And throwing one. Because one of the football players tries to assassinate Chloe with a ball. It's not really assassination type, that's what she calls it.
It's just he just throws it at her because he doesn't like it. And she extremely over-exaggerates.
So this episode is kind of picking up in that thing we got a little bit of in the first one that mentioned that Clark wants to play football, Jonathan doesn't want him to for reasons of safety, and you might kill everyone on the field. And Clark's like, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway, and just does it. And so Jonathan looks disapprovingly at him. There's a couple of nice lines of dialogue that I do appreciate. I like Jonathan saying, you're here for more important things than to play football. Now, admittedly, they're basically stealing that from the movie, but still, I'll point.
Yeah. Because this Jonathan's still good, so
yeah, no,
it's fine. It doesn't come off as cheap when he's delivering it, is the point.
Yeah. Like you say, it's better than the first 2. It's not as laughably bad, even though it's still painfully bad in a generic
very
way.
Generic and standard, but it's not actively bad in most of it.
That said, the source music is still
extreme. Yep.
See when it came back after the titles and that Gorillaz song started playing, I'm like, I've not heard that. So that was everywhere at that time period.
Everywhere. Things I'm noticing is I'm going, oh man, I love this song. I've not heard this in about a decade, but I love this song.
I feel
the Sum 41 track later as well.
Yeah, there's a Sum 41 track later on, which I also recognised. It makes me roll my eyes though that it's just all these mainstream songs of the time period. There's no I love it when a show will introduce me to a lot of music because it'll pick a lot of I feel like Mr. Robot's a good example of this recently, where they'll pick some really cool obscure things and I'll be, oh man, I like that, and I'll seek it out. Fair,
Supergirl does a lot of the source music stuff, especially in the first season. It did.
Season 1, yeah, not as much now, and definitely never as much as this.
No, never as much as this. But I mean, a lot compared to the other shows that we're kind of watching.
Sure, yeah.
But I feel like that tends to pick things that I'm not as familiar with.
Because I remember in season 1, in Supergirl, there was a cover by Lissy, and the song was famous, but that cover wasn't, and it was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, it was good.
And I'm like,
I remember that.
I'm curious about this now. I'm going to look that up. Twin Peaks is another example. I mean, obviously Lynch has extravagant taste, so he tends to dig deep, but no, there's a lot of stuff that I like a couple of these bands. I never heard of these people, and now I like them.
There was some that I was familiar with, and some that I wasn't.
Whereas Smallville is basically just the playlist that was playing on the main MTV channel at the time.
It is. And some of that I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I think I'd have been annoyed at the time.
Now it's been a while you've heard.
Now it's been so long since I've heard them. I'm like, oh yeah, I like this song, but that doesn't excuse them for picking it when they did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think that now if you use any of these songs, it's kind of like how at the start of Iron Man 3 they have the Blue song.
Yeah.
the point is saying, hey, this is 1999. Like, it's telling you the time period. That's why you use it now. Using it at the time was just kind of...
I mean, I guess they're telling us it's 2001.
But it was made in 2001, doesn't it? It doesn't need to tell us that.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're just making it abundantly clear.
Okay.
Yeah. I also, you mentioned cast members that you recognise. The principal, of course, is now actually on Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he's the head of the.
He's the director of the Time Bureau. I also know him from iZombie. He was the one of the police chiefs or detectives.
You say that as if I didn't watch iZombie.
Yeah. I'm just do you remember him?
I do. Yeah. I've seen his face around a lot. Yeah, so I didn't recognize him.
But I was like, oh, I forgot here. He's just clearly he's just like, well, I'm Canadian. I'm staying here.
So Lana's plot in this one is she decides, because obviously one of Clark's reasons for wanting to even be in the team is he wants to impress Lana because she's a cheerleader. Lana decides she wants to give up cheerleading in this episode and wants to make it on her own, so she goes and gets a job at the coffee shop. Do you know what's funny about this plot? Is at the end of the episode she gets fired because she's terrible at it and she's breaking dishes. I'll be honest, I actually give a little smirk at one joke. When Lex and Clark get their orders back, and he's got cream all over it, because he mentioned cappuccino before, we heard that.
Yeah, he's like, I'll just give me my cappuccino in a styrofoam cup.
She comes back with a proper mug. There's cream in the top of it, and Clark's just like, "Is that what you ordered?" Not even close. That was an okay little joke. That was a fun little joke.
And I'm glad she got fired, because at this point, she was like, I hold the record for most stuff broken. I'm like, Lana, you're shit at this. How are you keeping this job? And thankfully she didn't.
She's better at that than acting, though.
Yes. Speaking of atrocious acting, the worst moment of the episode is undoubtedly the final moment. The scream.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. Because I was bringing up the Lana thing, because she gets fired, she's trying to do the whole thing, and eventually at the end of the episode they both meet randomly on the field, the football field, even though he's quit the team and she's not a cheerleader anymore. They're both there just cause
being wistful about what they could have had.
Exactly. And she's like, sometimes you just want to scream, or he says that, he's like, why don't we? It's like, you can't be serious. I am serious, let's do it then. Alright, 3, 2, 1, and then it just ends with them just screaming into the
looking
sky.
up, and it's like, oh, this is awful, and it's awful screaming.
This is where you could tell Goff and Miller, the creators of this show, really wanted this to be Dawson's Creek mixed with like a superhero show.
Yeah, definitely.
This is like them emulating Dawson's Creek, and Dawson's Creek did this better, arguably. So
yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, Lana, I mean, she doesn't have the standout monologue this week that made me cringe to hell and back.
No, it's not there, is it?
Because she just doesn't have it. But I was still kind of been like whenever she was like talking to her aunt and she was like, oh, I want to do this on my own, and like just all these things, I'm like, I don't buy this.
Yeah, I want to save money so I can go traveling in the summer. I'm like, you're allowed to just go traveling on your own over summer at that age? Yeah,
because keep in mind, season 4 they're still in high school, so they're like freshmen. And they're freshmen because in the first episode it's the freshman who becomes a scarecrow, right?
Yeah,
they're freshmen. They've got another 3 years of high school after this. They are not old enough to go traveling on their own.
That's why I was like, what? and you're okay with this? Responsible aunt who's your legal guardian?
She hates her guts though. She gets burdened with her when her parents get killed.
That's true. That is true.
So that's what's happening there. Yeah, and Lex has a subplot. And Lionel's back in this episode. He pops up because he wants Lex to cut 20% of the workforce at the plant. He refuses, tells the stooges that are here to piss off. So Lionel shows up and says, I'll fence you for it.
I love that Lionel bases his business decisions on fencing with his son.
Do you know what? John Glover,
he sells it.
He's a good actor. This is a stupidly written scene, but he is a good actor. Michael Rosenbaum's not bad either, but that's the only reason why this is not the worst thing ever.
It should be atrocious, but it's actually not that bad, this stuff.
And then Lex is inspired by Clark and Lana, because he joined the team anyway, and she got a job anyway, so he's going to find a way to cut this budget elsewhere, and he does. And then Lionel's pissed, And Lex brings up a good point. Like, hey, this is still saving the money with none of the bad PR. This is good.
Yeah, I actually quite like this bit. Like I like that Lex is smart. He's like, no, you're just annoyed because I thought of it and you didn't. Screw you.
That said, the earlier scene with the Stooges when he told them to get out, it did have that evil music playing the entire time.
It did, and I don't understand why, especially for that scene, because he wasn't being evil. Lex was going, no, I'm not cutting 20%.
He was actively trying to be a good person in that scene.
He was actively going, no, I'm giving out more jobs to this town. Yeah,
it made zero sense in that scene. But
I did like the stuff with him and Lionel. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was okay. I love it. I mean, it was fine. The better actors.
I think that those are two of the best actors on the show, so it helps a lot.
Yeah. So back to Clark's plot, because obviously you get Jonathan.
That happened
against everything, and Clark is whining. He's like, "Oh, he doesn't trust me," and blah 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 blah. And he's running up and down the field. He gets really impressive, of course, and Jonathan's like pissed because he's using his powers on the field. He's like, "Ah,
yeah, you cheating prick."
And he was also
raised you better than this.
He was one of the best football players, of course, in the school ever. So he's just offended by this.
Yeah, it's like, no, I did it all with hard work and natural. Then and you're just running.
And of course, Chloe actually has plot in this because she actually starts investigating. Because obviously the principal almost gets killed. Clark saves him, but he's almost burned to death. And so Chloe starts like investigating. She sees the coach use his powers. She exposes the students who were cheating, which sort of gets the plot going. So she actually has a plot, which is nice because in the last couple of episodes she was kind of tangential. Admittedly, Pete is still just kind of there with nothing to do.
He's on the football team, so he's there for him to say to Jonathan that he doesn't know where Clark is.
Yes, that's basically his purpose in this episode.
That's basically the only moment with him I really remember. And early on to Chloe, it's like, hey, I like football.
Yeah, he's just kind of there, yeah. Which is, and I think that's more notable because I was starting to feel that way about Chloe, but Chloe had a decent little plot in this episode, more so.
She was proactive. She was helping.
And I know just from memory that in the future she has a lot more to do.
Yeah.
Pete now, though, after 3 episodes, he's really had nothing.
I remember one episode with Pete. I think he gets some powers at some point, maybe.
Possibly. I remember. Yeah, I mean, I won't get into too many spoilers, but they do something with them, I think, in season 2 to try and make him feel more important, which again slightly works, but it doesn't have much lasting effect. Yeah. There's a reason why he just gets written out of the show at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
So.
To be fair, I don't think Whitney even lasts that long.
Oh no, Whitney's a season 1 character only. He's gone.
Yes, I recall, and I'm like, oh, good. Just because he's so bland.
He is bland.
Like, we say Pete does nothing. At least he has a character. At least he says things.
I know. Whitney's the protective boyfriend douchebag. He's got a bit of character there. Let's not completely rule him out.
No, that's a cliche, not a character.
Yeah, he's just kind of around this episode. He's there to be Lana's boyfriend.
He doesn't do anything.
To be fair, though, he had a lot more plot in the last 2, so I can't really fault them. They can't use everyone every episode. I think Pete's just really noticeable because it's been 3 in a row where he's had nothing but standing there. He's just the person to talk to for the other characters. That's all he's been.
He is, yeah.
So, hey. The coach locks Clark when Clark confronts him. And with the kryptonite, which by the way, I'm already sick of them calling it meteor rock. Like, can we get to the point where we know this is kryptonite?
Oh, I don't think that's ages.
I think it's the end of the season. Maybe even next season.
I think it's next season.
Maybe next season.
If anything, it could be longer.
I think it may not.
Does
be
it happen before this? That's what I'm thinking. That's all the stuff with the caves.
Yeah, but I feel like
season 4, isn't it?
Oh no! It's season 2. Christopher Reeves in season 2. Yeah.
I thought that was later than that.
He definitely finds out about Krypton in season 2, but I can't remember if he gets to Kryptonite before then. It doesn't make sense that he would, but for some reason in my head I feel like he might have done. I don't know why.
No, I don't think so. I'm also bored of the effect of on his veins on his wrist.
Oh yeah, I'm sick of that already. It's only episode 3.
I forgot about that. I quite like the sound though. I'm not gonna lie. The sound the kryptonite makes, the sheen.
Oh sure, that's fine.
I like that.
Oh yeah, I can't fault it. It's fine.
That's just taste though.
Yeah. The only other thing I've really got to say about the plot is, like just like some of the effects, like when he walks through the fire towards the college.
Yeah. It's particularly weird because you can see real fire where the So it's more jarring. It's the same thing we said with the explosion for the car last episode, where he saves Whitney, where the actual fire and explosion stuff, it's real, so it looks good.
Yeah.
And then the CG is more noticeable because it sticks out against it.
Exactly. I guess that's the episode. I don't have a whole lot more to add on it.
No, me either. I'm trying to think if there anything interesting, but there wasn't.
There really wasn't. Like I was really almost concerned actually that we may actually have to put another episode or something on these shows if Smallville keeps getting less and less interesting to talk about.
I feel like it's got to do something offensively bad soon, though.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping for it. We'll find out.
These episodes, it's better, but it's more boring.
Arguably, yeah.
It's like I'm there. It's just on. I'm not real. I don't really care. Whereas when it does something really bad, I get angry. I get annoyed. I go, what the hell's this? And that's more entertaining in its own fashion.